Okay, in these two movies I'm going to describe how to do this pen tool exercise in Illustrator. In the first movie I'm going to cover the logo part of the mark or the symbol part of the exercise, and in the second part I'm going to describe how to use the pen tool to draw text. When you first download the exercise, it'll download either in a folder called Pen Tool Exercise Folder or just as a straight file, Pen Tool Exercise. In either case, go ahead and open that file up, and you should see something that looks similar to this. Again, it's an old Macintosh splash screen. When you launched up the Mac, it would show you this screen. And it's got a couple of good qualities for learning the pen. We've got a pretty basic symbol to build, but it has multiple colors. And then we also have some text to reproduce. And the text is fairly complex, just in that there's not a lot of straight lines in it. It's fairly old style in its construction, so it has lots of curves, and will require the precision of the pen to really get this done correctly. And I guess that's one good point to mention at this point is why use the pen? The pen is wonderful for precision work. Pencil's great if you're just trying to do loose stuff, but once you start having to reproduce something exactly, there's no other tool in Illustrator's toolbox that's as good as the pen. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm going to zoom in on the face here. And that would be one thing I would recommend is as you work on this, make sure that you're nice and close. A lot of mistakes occur when you're just working a little too far away. Now if we look at this face, there's a couple of key things. You notice that there's two colors on either side, and that the mouth actually is split, that there's one color on the left and then there's another color on the right, and the one on the right actually joins with this nose shape. So those are going to be some things that influence how we construct it. First of all, what I'm going to do is go into outline mode. When you're working in outline, you'll be able to see the background object. In this case, this background template graphic you can see in the layers palette here. You can see that much more easily as you're working along. So to go into outline, just choose View, Outline. Notice that it's Command Y. Alright, we don't see any change. We will in a second here. Next thing I'm going to do is know when to use the pen and when to not. In this case, I'm just going to make one great big rectangle here. That's a lot easier than using the pen to build a rectangle that's perfectly horizontal and vertical. Just drag out a rectangle instead. Next thing I need to do is think about how this rectangle has to have a fill on this side and a different fill on this side. Well, the easy way to do that is to get out the scissors tool, and I'm just going to snip this rectangle in two places. One up at the top, one down at the bottom. Notice that I have to click exactly on the path to do that. When I've done that, I can tell which side of the rectangle is selected. Notice that there's hollow points over here, but there's no points over here. And this is important because what I'm going to do is move these center points over to one side, so it's easy to tell where to make the connections. So I'm going to just click on the center point, hold down Shift, and drag it a little to the left. And I can do that for the other center point too. I'll click on it, drag it over a little bit to the right, and then come down here and just make the same adjustment. This isn't super necessary, but it's helpful when you're doing work like this just to be able to see which side you're working on. Okay, so we've made our separation here. If I go into preview mode, I'm just going to click Command Y. We have two shapes that are open paths, so they're just filling from one side to the other. That's not really going to help us yet, so I need to connect those along the path of the nose. Now what's important is all I need to do is get it connected loosely in here. The nose object itself is going to sit on top of this. Think about it again as construction paper. if I'm working with construction paper, all I need to do is overlay this nice shape on top of my messy work underneath, and that'll take care of it. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just getting out the pen tool, and the first move I'm going to do here with the pen, notice that when it's around no points, there's an X by it. As I move over an existing point, that X changes to a slash. When it does that, it means that the tool is going to append the current object. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the object. And now notice that the pen doesn't have any mark next to it at all. That means that you're just in the middle of drawing. Now I'm just going to click some straight lines, and I'm just going to click in the middle here. I don't really care how sloppy it is as long as it stays inside this gray boundary. Okay, so we do that one side. I'm going to come over and append the other side. Notice that the shape didn't need to be selected before I did that. Illustrator knows when it's over an anchor point, and it'll just allow you to select it. Okay, and notice that I'm also not really caring much how much overlap there is between the two shapes, as long as I'm within that gray boundary. Final icon next to the pen, notice that you have a little circle. That's when it's going to close a shape for you. Okay, now if I preview this, alright, now if I were to fill this with a color, the color would fit roughly inside that area. That's what we're shooting for. Alright, the next thing we're going to do here is just build this arc. I'm going to zoom back a little bit just so it's a little easier to see what I'm doing. To build the arc, you might think, well, I'll just follow the gray shape all the way around. But I want this mouth to be uniform all the way across. So I'm going to actually build this as a separate shape and then do a trick with the Pathfinder to get those to meet up. So for now, I'm just going to concentrate on this arc coming down. So I'm just going to start at a corner. Come down to the first angle here. I'm just going to click, and my mouse is down. I'm going to hold, and I'm going to drag out until that line, notice this line, just kind of meets up with the interior artwork so that it rides along the same path. Alright, now if I were to come over here and click, I'd encounter a problem. I'd get a swooping line in here because it's following this Bezier handle coming out of this point. This is a smooth point. So what I need to do instead here is I need to convert this point into a corner point. And with the pen you can do that. If you just click on an anchor point that you previously created, that you just created, notice that it kills the outgoing Bezier handle, but the incoming handle is still the same. Just to better illustrate this, I'm going to convert this layer's color from blue to yellow. I think it'll be easier for you to see. I've just double clicked on the layer in the layers palette. I'll just choose a different color like yellow. Yeah, that's very easy to see. Notice that here's that Bezier handle here. That's controlling the curve, but the outgoing handle has been removed. Alright, over here I'm going to just hold down Shift and click, and it ensures that this is going to stay perfectly horizontal to this other point I just made. I'm going to come down along here, drag out, and if you ever drag too far, notice what happens is it zips up. Illustrator tries to help you out, and sometimes that can be very distracting. So just get used to the fact that Illustrator will move the window for you if your handle gets near the edge. So I'm going to just drag that in. Again, I'm going to kill that point. Notice that the pen gets a little convert anchor tool symbol next to it when I'm over a point. There we go. Now I get a nice straight edge. Come back up here, click and drag, and again I'm just trying to fill that arc. Notice that this handle's about halfway between the 2 points. That's a good way of knowing that it's pretty much doing its job in controlling the entire arc. Hold down Shift again, and then come up here and finish. I'm definitely going to see the screen move here. and it's very distracting. Alright, there we go. Just kind of write it out. Alright, now this is okay. I've done an okay job. This is where we should zoom in now and kind of take a look close up and see. I'm going to get out the direct selection arrow and just come in. This point looks okay. You can see I'm getting fairly far away from the curve here. I want to just double check this curve. There we go. And that looks alright. Notice that over here it's a little low, so I'm going to drag a marquee, select these 2 points together, get just those points, bring them down, and then I'm going to just adjust this one curve, and that's following along okay. Same thing over here. I just want to slide this point over a bit. I'm holding down shift while I'm dragging so it stays nice and horizontal. Looking at that arc, and that arc actually looks pretty decent all the way through. It's a little shallow here, so I'll go ahead and make it a little deeper of an arc. That's a good thing to remember when you're working with the pen. You can always make adjustments. The first thing you want to do is just lay down the points correctly. Put the points where you need them or close to where they need to be, and then just make an adjustment afterwards. I always say to students, work on 2 passes. Don't try to get it all done in 1 pass. Consider that you'll have an editing pass. This arc I think looks okay, and that arc still looks okay. Again, it's coming out a little bit. Might need to bring this point in just a little bit here. There we go. Alright, so if I zoom out, notice that this looks alright. I'm going to go ahead and save my work. I'm just getting a message saying I'm saving in an earlier format. That's okay. Alright, so we've got this first part. Now I just need to do the mouth across. For this, I could make just one handle control each of these curves like I did here. I think though that the curve is slightly different in this case. I think that there's a little bit of a change, and I want to also show you how to make a curve with 2 handles rather than just one. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to get out the Bezier tool again. This time when I click in a corner, I'm going to click and drag. Even though I'm not drawing anything yet, I'm just drawing out a Bezier handle, I'm just going to try to make, on the other side, a handle that comes down and is kind of a mirror image of this. So I'm going to click over here, and I'm just going to try to get a handle that's similar in its size. Notice that I don't really care whether it's touching yet or not. I'm just kind of getting this ready for that editing pass. I'm going to kill this handle over on this side, this outgoing Bezier handle. Click down here. But I have the mouse down here. I need to have this handle come out. So I'm going to live with the fact that I'm getting this funny little thing here. I'm going to just take care of that in the editing pass. I'm going to come over the other side. And again, just try to drag this out so that I have something similar. And now it's really hard to tell, so I'm going to let go, come back with the hand, and just take a look. Notice that if I hold down Command, I get the direct selection arrow. I get the last arrow I used, which was direct select. This is wonderful when you're editing with the pen. You can make an adjustment, say, okay, that's what I want, or no, I need to fix that a little bit more. Then I can come back and just keep on doing what I was doing. Very handy for doing work. You don't have to change tools just to make the adjustment. I'll hold down Command again here, and this is where those 2 handles are going to come in handy. I'm just going to click on this bottom segment and drag down. And notice that as I click and drag, I'm using the direct selection arrow. If I drag to the left or drag to the right, the Bezier handles actually adjust for me. The thing that I wanted to do initially when I made them is just get them kind of the same angle, and they're pretty close here. And that's what I was shooting for. Same thing with this top curve. So the thing that you're really looking for is to have kind of a uniform shape all the way across. Now notice, I think this shape looks a little wrong right now. I think it's a little shallow on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and first just drag this down a little bit and see if that takes care of it. Otherwise, maybe just make an adjustment over here a little bit. Alright, pretty close. Again, we're working with a real low resolution graphic, so we're trying to create a nice smooth line that has uniform thickness throughout. That's what you're looking for. Last thing we have to do is fix this problem. Now, it could be tempting to just grab this with the direct selection handle and move it in and try to get it to disappear. The problem is that as you move it, you're also influencing that other handle, which is important in this case. So instead of doing that, in your pen, hold and pop up, come over to your Convert Anchor Point tool. Now just grab this. When you grab it with the Convert Anchor Point tool, it doesn't affect the other handle at all. So I can just slide this in. I'm going to just slide it in and drop it. Okay. A little bit of final editing. I think it's just needs to come up just a little bit. There we go. This comes over just a little. Alright. So let's see what it looks like now. Command Y. Alright, so you can see the shapes here. And what I need is I need to actually convert this smile shape. I need to merge part of it with this shape. And this is where using Pathfinder will really save you time. Rather than having to draw this precise shape here and then make sure that this intersection is just perfect, I'm just going to use Pathfinder, and first of all I'm going to chop this shape into two separate ones, and then I'll use Pathfinder to join this one to this shape. So to chop them into two shapes, under Scissors, I'm going to get out the knife. Notice that I already selected that shape. The knife only works with selected shapes. And just somewhere in the middle here, I'm going to just drag down and cut so that this shape will overlap the shape on the left. Alright? Now, I'm going to hold down Command again and just click on the nose shape, hold down Shift and click on the right shape. I have those two selected. I need to find the Pathfinder here. We'll just go under Window. And Pathfinder's up, but I don't know where it is, so I'm going to just close it and then bring it back. Aha. So Pathfinder's right here, kind of in the way of everything else. So we'll just slide this over so you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to convert these, unify them together, but I'm also going to, notice where it says Option, click to expand. I'm going to just turn it into one shape by holding down Option and clicking. When I do that, the beauty of this is that one of these shapes, the mouth, was in front of the nose, so the whole, both shapes when they merged came forward. This shape went to the back. So now I have a complex shape, and it perfectly, if I zoom in on this intersection, it perfectly merges, and there's no way that anybody would look at that and see any variation. If you try to draw this freehand, odds are that you'll get this intersection a little different than what's happening over here. It's a lot easier to just build the mouth shape and then use Pathfinder to merge them together. That's what I would recommend. Alright, last thing we have to do is the eyes. And again, just rectangle on the left. I'm going to just get the selection arrow out, click and drag, hold down Shift to constrain it, Option to copy it, get it over here, and then the last thing I need to do is fill this with color. Easiest way to do this is sample the color underneath in the pixels. To do that, you get out your eyedropper tool, I'm just going to hover over the color, click. Notice that it immediately fills it and gets rid of the stroke. And this is important. It's filling it black. You'll say, well, this is gray. Remember that this has been tinted back because it's a template layer. Template layers are tinted back 50%. So when it's picking the color, it's actually picking the color of the original object instead. So I'm going to sample this color now. So I'm going to just hold down Command and click on this shape. Click. Notice that it gets that color. Then I want to do that for this background shape and this background shape. Alright, so if we preview this, now it's starting to come along. All I need to do is apply this color over to the nose and this color to the mouth area, and that's also easy. I'm just going to hold down Command, click on this shape, and sample this shape over here. That ensures that I get exactly the same color. Same thing here. Alright, and if we zoom back, we now have a smiley face, and it's perfectly aligned. This last thing I'd say about this is when you're doing artwork like this, make sure that you don't use strokes unless there's a stroke in the artwork. It's going to make your life much simpler to just use fills, and then you can go right up to the edge using the outline mode. You can follow that edge nice and cleanly. So this is the end of the first movie. In the second movie, I'm going to go over how to look at that text and reproduce some of it.